Yo, what's up, everyone? It is the Beast. Welcome back to my channel, The Beast On. As the Canes beat Pittsburgh 31-19, we will break this one down in a moment. First of all, if you see my face, which I'm sorry about that, if you hear my voice, please, I would give anything. I'd be so thankful if you just subscribe to the channel. Trying to get over 1,000 subscribers, which would make me really happy, and also maybe help pay the electric bill and put food on the family's table because I'm unemployed, and YouTube does pay creators once you get over 1,000 subscribers. So do that, hit the little bell so you get notified when a new video is up, and you can always follow me on the social media at Miami Radio Beast. Now to the game. The Canes beat Pittsburgh 31-19. They actually covered the spread, which is good. Let's start with the good from the game. There's two goods that I pulled from this game. One is this could have been a game they easily went out and lost. After the loss to Clemson, Miami has had a habit over the last, however many years of letting losses turn into more losses, domino effect, there goes the season. So it was good to see them responding to the shellacking they got from Clemson by beating Pittsburgh. The other really good thing I liked was the red zone defense. Bend, don't break. They allowed Pittsburgh to get one easy touchdown, but otherwise it was all field goals. And I really like to see that from this defense, is that they're not letting Pitt score. Now, granted, Pitt was without their starting quarterback, so we can play hindsight as 2020 and think about what it would have been like had Pittsburgh had their starting quarterback, but they didn't. So I can only go by what they did have, and Miami was able to stop that in the red zone, which is good for them. Although in between the 20s, Pittsburgh was really able to find open receivers, which was disconcerting a little bit. Now to the bad, if not the ugly, if not the disappointing, if not the average at best, which is the offensive line. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. I'm not going to single out one player or two players. My dog just walked by. I'm just going to tell you that the position group as a whole is not good enough. And they even brought it up on TV. The announcers, by the way, one of the worst broadcasting crews ever. And I know they were at their houses, but at one point, play-by-play dude calls Headley, our punter, Headley Lamar from Blazing Saddles. At which point, I think I'm one of the only people that got that reference, as it's from a movie out of the 70s, and a lot of you weren't alive for Blazing Saddles. Although, while definitely would be seen as not politically correct in these days and times, is one of my top 5 comedy movies. That's neither here nor there. Play-by-play crew was terrible, but they did keep bringing up, as De'Ara King was getting sacked, or the running back was getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage, that hey, this is second and third teamer Pittsburgh defensive lineman that's able to get this push against Miami's offensive line. And I know Pittsburgh's defense is good, and Pat Narduzzi is always going to have a good defense, but what does it say when your starting offensive line is getting pushed around, getting just pushed back by the other team's second and third stringers? It doesn't say much. The other bad thing, Miami just does not have a standout wide receiver at any level. I mean, Brevin Jordan not playing didn't help. Will Mallory, he was able to get wide open for a couple, and I'm glad he got involved. But other than a couple of decent plays by Harley, I just nothing to talk about from the wide receivers. And again, it's just perplexing, because I just feel like if there's any team in the country that should have at least one standout wide receiver coming to you from the bastion of skill position players in South Florida, it should be the University of Miami, and they just don't have it. At least not the guys they're playing. I don't know, maybe the freshmen will get a chance and be that, but I have to think that the coaches know what they're seeing in practice and are putting the guys that show out in practice best out on the field. So because at this point, what would be the reason to hold back anyone? I don't see it. So just no receivers, no offensive line. And because of that, D'Eriq King's talents are diminished. Because I feel like, now I have no idea. I'm not around the team. I'm not down at the U anymore. I'm not inside that locker room. I'm not talking to anybody. I don't have any, well, I do have sources, but I don't even go there anymore. I don't know. I feel like he's thrown a couple of balls. Today he threw a ball into triple coverage, which was intercepted. There was another ball he threw, which was tipped, then intercepted, but that ball, even if it wasn't tipped, was going to be way off of the target. Anyways, last week he did the same thing. I feel like he might be pressing a little bit, especially in some of the plays where either he's deciding to keep the ball and run, where there's nothing up front, or he's handing it off to a running back up the middle, where there's nothing doing there. I feel like D'Eriq King is pressing because he knows he just has no wide receivers, no big-time playmakers, and his offensive line is crap. So I don't know that for a fact. It just kind of seems that way, that he's pressing, because I know he's a much better quarterback than what we've seen the last couple of weeks. And I think maybe his confidence is a little bit hurt by that. I know from what I heard, he was really down on himself after the Clemson game, really put a lot on himself for that loss, which, was a total team loss. It wasn't him alone. Was in the film room like way early Sunday, just studying everything. And I think at this point, I think he thought he'd be way more successful at this point in the season. And he came to Miami to prove something, that he could play at a Power 5 team and make it happen. And so far this season, for the last couple of games, it hasn't, and it's not all his fault. And I think he's taking it to heart, that he's just not getting the help he needs from his wide receivers and his offensive line. And he's pressing, and it's causing turnovers, and it's causing a couple of bad decisions to be made when he's given the option at the line of scrimmage to switch out of plays or to do something different than Rhett Lashley called. So just not really happy with the offense today. I know they did score, but think about the scores they got. The couple of open, basically, it was 4 touchdowns to guys that were completely wide open. There was a breakdown in coverage, and it was easy going for those plays. They had one long drive where they really had to work at gaining yardage, and that one ended up in a Borregales field goal. So it's the scores they got came easy because of how open their receivers were, or Cam Harris. They didn't have to work for it, and when they did have to work for it, they ended up with a field goal. So that's a little bit disconcerting. And I'm worried about next week. Virginia, night game, 8 p.m. I'm worried about every game. This team could be really good or just the same. And here's my bottom line. And I'm not... Listen, you're not giving up on the season yet. There's still plenty to play for. They could still end up in the ACC championship. There's still a lot on the line, despite one loss and not looking wonderful on offense in this game against Pitt. But I'm going to throw this out there, and tell me whether you agree or disagree in the comments, or you can hit me up on social. But here's my big takeaway so far. And it's disconcerting to me. It's upsetting to me. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Miami Hurricanes, the University of Miami football team, is literally the same Miami Hurricanes football team we've seen over the last 15 years since they've joined the ACC. They are what this conference is, aside from Clemson. Nothing special. And that's what the program has been over the last 15 years. And that's what this conference has been, other than Clemson, is just nothing special. And that's the program right now. They've taken on the identity of the conference they joined in 2004. Whereas the thought process was that Miami was going to raise the level of the conference and bring it up to the SEC level. It's been the other way around. In one way or another, the ACC has actually brought Miami down, although Miami's deficits have been mostly their own fault, with bad coaching, bad recruiting, Nevin Shapiro, and so much more. So, but that's what when I look at this program, I just see another ACC team. I see a North Carolina, a Virginia, a Pitt, an NC State. That's what I see when I see Miami, other than the U on their helmet that at one point or another in history stood for football dominance. It doesn't stand for that anymore. It stands for just another team. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope they can start to put their pedal to the metal and start to cream some teams and get to face Clemson again in the ACC championship and really turn things around. But right now, that's what I see, is just another average ACC team. Just another team, man, which is sad. It's my alma mater. I still owe money for all the palm trees that my tuition payments went for. And I will always love the University of Miami, whether we are championship contender or 5 and 6. I'll always love them, but it's just been the same thing over and over and over again. I'm having deja vu all over again. All right, that'll do it for me. Keep it locked to the channel. Again, subscribe, share it with your friends, tell your parents. I don't know why they would care, but just tell them anyways. Tell your kids, tell your cousins, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, tell them both at the same time and see what happens there. Tell your husband, tell your boyfriend, tell them both at the same time. Tell everybody, tell the whole world about the channel. Appreciate y'all. See you when I see you. Peace. Go Canes.